And we are live in the Resilient Kid Group. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're well. I'm really excited this morning because we have the lovely Emmy Howe. Now, I know Emmy through my work with TEDx. I mean, you guys all know about my TEDx experience. And I'm now on the speaker panel, which is really lovely because I get to help kind of coach the guys who are coming through. Catherine Sandland is absolutely amazing, as I'm sure Emmy will agree, coaches us all on our actual speech. But I'm just part of that speaker panel. And I remember the first time I seen Emmy's audition video, it was just blew me away. The actual sentiment, the story behind it was amazing. And next weekend is the big TEDx event. And so we are, as I was just prepping for that and we were talking about it, I remembered that Emmy had wrote books as well. And so I reached out and said, please come and talk to us about your children's book that you've wrote. And Emmy, very lovely, dropped one off yesterday. So we'll do a competition. We'll do that a little bit later and we'll tell you how you can win this signed. And by the way, my son read this yesterday and he thinks your signature is just amazing. Like he's now trying to design his own signature. Can you see that, everybody? How cool is that? So without further ado, just before I pass over to Emmy for her to introduce herself, if you are watching us live, then please comment, pop your name in if you haven't given StreamYard permission, but pop your name in, tell us who it is, because we'd love any comments and stuff. Or if you're watching it on replay, do hashtag replay. Emmy and I will watch the comments on any questions you've got later on. So Emmy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Ashley. It's so lovely to be here. Thank you for having me. A little bit about myself. Where do I start? I'm crafting a niche for myself to educate and raise awareness around body image and the impact that our own body image has on our lives. And all this means is how we feel about our bodies, you know, our emotions, our thoughts about, you know, how our bodies are. And so that's the crux of all of my work. I work in the corporate sector, I work in schools, I write books, I do TEDx talks. It's all a bit bizarre. And all of it comes from, you know, my teenage years where I sensed that there was this weird duality in the world. So my grown-up book is called The Body Hoax, How to Stop Believing in Fantasy Bodies. And now I can see, obviously, we live in two separate worlds. One of them is the real world, and one of them is increasingly, you know, where we're spending more and more of our time is the media, and it's fantasy, it's not real. But as a teenager, you know, it was really quite hard to get into grips with that and kind of trying to get the two worlds to meet up in my brain. And I had lots and lots of questions. So my life has taken me in a bit of a weird kind of journey. I used to work for one of the biggest women's magazines in the country. So a bit weirdly that I now kind of saw the behind the scenes of what went on in the media. I was then diagnosed with cancer 2012. I've since had a double mastectomy. So my body can now never be, you know, I can't aim to ever achieve the ideal body. You know, my body is forever changed. And it's been through a real process. Obviously, I had 4 different operations and I lost all my hair. And, you know, there was lots of levels of acceptance of my body through that process. And I learned a lot. And I kind of realized that, it started coming into focus that we do live in these 2 very different worlds. And so unpicking the why and the how has been kind of my work for the last few years, really.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting. And I think, like, for me, I see lots of kids who have got eating disorders, particularly teens, but I'll be honest, the clientele for that kind of work is getting younger and younger. And I think one of the things that I really love about you is that you have been on this incredible journey. And it's been, you know, and to to listen to you talk about kind of body images and that hoax that we all kind of buy into, you know, and we do that a lot, is amazing. But the fact that you don't want to just talk to adults about it, you know, you want to talk to kids and talk to teachers and parents. And by the way, I have asked Emmy to come back on Saturday for Parents Corner so she can tell us about the adult book. But the fact that you want to kind of target and hone in on how we talk to our kids and how kids talk to their bodies is just amazing. You know, because you could just leave all that to one side, because that's, you know, you don't have to touch that. Emmy, just so you know, if there is a comment, it will flash up here. So I'm sorry, it went up, and I see you like going, oh, okay. So I don't know who that is, because they haven't given StreamYard permission. I've got a feeling it might be Sam Newey. Because she's in the group, and you know how lovely Sam is. So yeah, so sorry, just to let you know that the comments will come up like that, not fine. To freak you out. So yeah, so tell us a little bit about the kind of work that you do in schools, or and particularly because even though I think your book is not predominantly about body image, it's kind of got multiple messages. You've even slipped it in there, which I just love. I love that. You know, from a therapist point of view, it's amazing. Yeah, well,
what the research is showing us from Pacey is that children as young as 3, gosh, it's a horrible statistic, children as young as 3 are identifying with diet culture and are recognising their own body shame, you know, are kind of making their own comments about their bodies. And they only hear that at home. They only hear that because they're mimicking or they're repeating us as parents or adults in their lives. And there are many other aspects that filter into it. There's another statistic about 30 years old now that says that 81% of 10-year-old girls are afraid of being fat. If that was true 30 years ago, I dread to think how many 10-year-old girls are afraid of being fat now. It's just, this isn't how kids should be living their lives. It's not really how adults should be living their lives. We really waste time doing, you know, worrying about this stuff. My take-home message when I work with schools is that we cannot all have the same bodies. We do not all have the same bodies, and that is really natural and really normal. Just like any other kind of species on the planet, that, you know, we're all different. We come all in all different shapes and sizes. If we all ate the same, if we all exercised the same, we would still all be different. So that's part of the take-home message. The other parts are about making appearance-based commentary. So this is talking about what kids say to each other, whether it's bullying, whether it's comments, just a noticing of, oh, you have. What we say to the kids as adults, whether we're teachers, parents, therapists, what we say about our own bodies, and what we say about our own food, our clothes, our movement choices, and how all those things kind of intersect, you know. So, oh, I can't fit into these anymore because I ate a doodah, you know, something, or, you know, I took my foot off the brake on the holidays, and so, you know, now I can't fit into this pair of trousers or something. These are all comments that we actually don't need to be making. It feels very natural and normal to make them. You know, it's something that we've grown up around as being normal because we believe that there's a certain type of thin ideal body, but actually it's really natural. It's certainly at the minute, sort of, we're still in COVID, but coming out of COVID, for us to reflect back on the last 12 months, realize that our bodies may have changed, and that's in both directions. Some people, you know, deal with stress and they eat more. Some people deal with stress and they eat less. Everybody's different, but fluctuations in weight is totally normal, absolutely normal. And especially in schools, we don't need to comment on other people's bodies. This is something that I know that teachers do it. I've seen it happen. I've heard it happen. And it's kind of normalized in the classroom, as it is everywhere else in society. It's no different, really. So the idea of the book is, it's not an overt body image book, but alongside with discussion points that are on the website, it gives people, adults, a tool to use to talk about how the media represents bodies, to talk about how there is, you know, maybe some kind of narratives in society that might not be right, but are still very, very strong. It talks about gender roles. It talks about not listening to people when someone says you can't do something, or, you know, kind of the resilience of and the strength of, you know, following your passion, following your talent, and not really caring what people think or say. And you don't have to have this certain type of a body to do a certain job, you know. It's so, yeah, so there's a number of different things that you can choose to pull out of the book. It's certainly not just about body image, but it's definitely something that I was passionate about putting in a little bit in there. So
yeah, and there's a few things there. By the way, that comment was the lovely Kim Smith as well from Radio Northwich. Hey, Kim. So yeah, I think there's a few things that I wanted to kind of pick up there. When you're talking about, and there's certainly no blame on, you know, and talking to you quite thoroughly, there's certainly no blame on teachers or parents. It's just, we've all been brought up that way. You know, we've absolutely all been brought up that way. But for me, as a therapist, as seeing kids on a daily basis, I think what we don't realize is our voice becomes their internal chatter. And, you know, from being very little, and that statistic of a 3-year-old is scary. Absolutely. You know, but that our voice, even if we are, you know, most of us would never dream of commenting on our kids' weight or body image or anything. And, you know, God forbid that you do that as they go to teens, because that will cut no mustard, I tell you. But I mean, we often don't. But it's stuff that we're saying about ourselves that they then internalize. So, you know, even just saying, oh, my jeans are a bit tight today. Do you have to make that comment? It really doesn't matter. Go and put a bigger pair on. You know, it's not worth it. It isn't worth it. Like, don't stress out about it. If it is that you want to lose some weight, then, you know, do whatever it takes. Move your body, whatever, that's fine. But just that chatter that we have that becomes almost like, I think between girlfriends often as well, it becomes like just a normal conversation. Oh, I've put on weight. I've ate unhealthy, or I've ate loads of you know, and it's just, we don't need to have that conversation, commenting constantly about our image, our body image, like you say.
yeah.
One of the things that I love, and I know you said there's discussion points, which are just amazing. So we do have teachers, TAs, HTLAs in here. You know, so if you're concerned about body image, or you're getting lots of chat in the classroom about body image, on Emmy's website, and we'll put other links to it underneath, so don't worry, you won't need to get a pen right now. But on the website is discussion points. But what I love is, this sounds like a really heavy topic, but this book is so much fun. Last night we were trying to read. Now, Emmy's going to give you a little. Sorry, my throat is going today, which is why I'm drinking honey tea. But Emmy is going to give us a little rendition of how to read the book. Okay, so last night over dinner, we was trying to do it in the sing-song voice that you're going to do right now, and it was just brilliant. We just had such a laugh. But at the back, which I really love, and we're going to kind of talk about this in the competition, is you have got kind of points and questions that the kids can ask themselves. So like, how does my body help me, and what makes me special? And I thank my body because you can, you know, whatever. And just to have that discussion instead of us talking about, oh, I've put on a few pounds, or I don't like my hair today, or whatever, we could be saying, actually, what can we be grateful for that our body has done? I've been out on a run today, you know, and the first thing I said to Emmy is, wow, I'm so hot, like I'm steaming up my glasses after my shower and stuff. And actually, what I should be saying is, thank God I could go out there. And I only ran for 10 minutes, but do you know what? I didn't stop. And I moved my body today, and I'm very thankful for that, you know? So that's the kind of thing that we need to be switching around and make it and talking in a more positive way.
I think you're right, and I think there's a real opportunity here for all of us to start to identify with, when we're talking about our bodies, it's not just conversation, it's not just a comment. There's actually a toxic element to it. But I think that in the past we've never really we don't see that. There's also a pretty discriminatory element to it as well. I mean, certainly if there's someone in a room, take for a staff room, for example, if someone is in there talking about what's called fat talk or diet talk or something like that, and there is someone in the room that is bigger than them and they're making judgments on their own body, that person will also feel that they're making judgments on their body as well. And this is something like, especially in the workplace, I care about this a lot. It's about inclusion, it's about discrimination, but it's not a subject that has had any kind of airtime whatsoever. It's something that we all just kind of accept as, well, that's normal. When actually there are people that have real, you know, kind of very negative outcomes because of it. And the same in the classroom, you know, that the same will be happening there as well. So yeah, it's about starting to identify what is a toxic thing to say about our bodies, but what is a positive thing to say about our bodies, or what is a neutral, or, you know, kind of a gratitude comment, things like that. Oh, can't hear you.
That's because I've muted. You know, I'm going to get a t-shirt. You're on mute. So without further ado, I think, Emmy, if it's okay with you, that you, because in the front of this book, which is so amazing, Emmy has like a little QR code there. And if you flash that, it gives you the tune to read the book to. But Emmy will do it for us now. So will you just read out like the first little paragraph to the tune of, and it's the circus theme tune, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's called
Thunder and Blaze.
It's Thunder and Blazes, or sometimes it's called Enter the Gladiators as well. Yeah, so it's just the first verse of that repeated over and over again. It is a bit of a tongue twister, so I'm going to try and do it kind of a bit slower today, because I can. Anyway, here we go. So the book is called Don't Go Knocking at the Circus Door. What might you find if you do? Don't go knocking at the circus door. The tightrope walker is lazing on the floor. The jugglers are boring. The acrobats are snoring. Even the clowns aren't funny anymore. Oh, come on in, then you might as well know. Gone are the days of the greatest show when crowds went wild, even Steganoff smiled. But our megastar hit the road long ago.
Yay! Love it.
So
love it.
It goes on like that. It is a different. I think if you don't know that it's to the tune, then it might be a bit harder to read. But yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun. And so
it is.
What I've done on the website is I've put actually the tune. My great friend, I mean, this has been a work of kind of collaboration. I can't tell you. There's been the artist is another mum friend, the designer is another mum friend, the lady who did the music is another friend through the school, and everyone's just been so great and helpful with it. But she actually did the music on the piano so that you can read along or sing along with the pages. So if you go on the QR code, that's where it takes you.
Cool. And you can just read it. You don't have to do it as well as Emmy. I just read it myself. As soon as she dropped it off, I was like, I need to read this. I need to read this, which is really brilliant. So Emmy, before we finish, do you have kind of tips or discussion points for parents and teachers that, you know, can help us with kids and this, you know, the whole body image?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the home, certainly, I don't have scales at home anymore. My kids don't see me weighing myself. It doesn't help me to weigh myself because it's like a little part of, you know, a little yay or nay every day. Who needs that? You know, you know your own body. I try and take care about what I say around food. I really care about health. Obviously, I'm a cancer survivor. I really care about creating healthy family, creating a healthy family in my own home. But it's how you package that, how I kind of like talk to my kids about this, about movement, about mobility, about protecting our bodies for their lifetimes, about what feels comfortable, how comfortable I feel. So that's another side of it, and just to try and cut the fat talk, cut the talk around, my body is X, Y, and Z. If it's not, my body is wonderful, or my body is everything. When it comes down to it, we are nothing without our body. The amount of kind of benefit we get from this body is just enormous. It's our absolutely everything, and I would love to live in a world where our consciousness is shifted to a place where where we can just basically worship them, just basically body worship.
Yeah, and wouldn't that be lovely? I think you're right, and I think for me, particularly with teens, we've got this Instagram culture. But actually, if we can, and that's not going to change overnight, that's not going to change for me. I don't see that changing anytime soon. I absolutely don't see that changing anytime soon. But what we can do is, us as parents, us as teachers, can be the antidote of that. So if you have got, like Emmy says, if you've got a kid who's noticing something or going, my body's not like this or whatever, but what does your body do? What can you be grateful for? All right, we're not all going to be the same. There is days we're going to wake up and we're not going to like our hair, or we think we've put on a bit of weight or whatever. Rather than focusing on that, like Emmy says, let's switch that in our brain, and what are we thankful for our bodies? And I think that's such an important point. So thank you, Gareth, by the way, for that.
And another point as well is that when we're starting to shift to a different kind of way of thinking and speaking, it can feel a bit like a minefield, because we've been heavily programmed. And it's important to remember that just noticing something either about yourself or about someone else is not a judgment. It's not bad. It's normal and natural. It's when you voice it, it's when you judge, use that then to make a further judgment or whatever. It's that part that we're trying to kind of pull out, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Emmy, where can I'm going to put all the links for you, but kind of what are you up to next? Where can we find you? I've just followed you on Insta this week, by the way, just saying.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So most of my work is done through my business, which is called Body Quality. So my Instagram handle is @bodyquality, and Twitter, and there's a Facebook group that you can join as well, which is really fab. It's just good for sharing kind of current information and with this kind of thing, when we're trying to change our minds and change our kind of like set in our ways, it's good to have like a flow of kind of reinforcing information. So that's particularly the Facebook group and the Instagram. That's what I use those for. Obviously, TEDx is coming up next Friday, and I can't wait. I'm so chuffed with. That feels very weird and exciting, really, really exciting. And then I guess I'll keep on doing what I'm doing. I work with big corporates. I work with schools, and just if anyone would like to get in touch, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, definitely. And Emmy's in the group now, so feel free to drop her a line, or I'm sure they can private message you if they need to, Emmy. But yeah, so also what we're going to do is so we need to talk about the competition. I forgot about the competition. So what we would like you to do, and the group, everybody's vetted who comes in the group, it's all safe. We would like you to video your child talking about their body positively, or something that they're grateful for. It could just be, it's sports day coming up, I'm really grateful that I could do this. It could be something like I don't know, Emmy, help me out, what else could they say?
Well, it's about kind of noticing what your body does for you. So if you're swimming in the summer, or, you know, if you're learning to dive or running or on the go-kart, or all the many things. I mean, I don't know about you, but my kids just go through obsessions. It's currently inline skates, or the next minute it'll be a scooter, or, you know, whatever it is. But it's about recognizing that we couldn't do that without our body. You think that the important bit of kit is the inline skates, but it's not actually. The important bit of kit is the body. But what I love about
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, is that it almost makes you have this conversation. It makes you, it forces you to start having these kind of conversations and drawing out from your kids what they might feel. They might surprise you. They come up with a really cool, surprising answer. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just literally a 30-second video. Pop it in the group, and then we will pick at random, and they will receive Emmy's signed book. You know, and this is we've got this before it's launched. Like, it's not officially launched yet, so we've got this kind of sneaky exclusive and preview of it. You'll get the signed book. Yeah, exactly. I'm so excited. So, and also you'll also get a Resilient Kid t-shirt that will come out to you. So just pop a little video in. I'll do a special post so you can put it in there. All the links for the book. So get yourself the book. It's brilliant. And if we hear you reading the book in the same voice as Emmy, you'll get a special prize off me, because I just think that's fantastic. But yeah, you'll get a prize. You know, enter the competition. We'll put all the links for the book. On Saturday, you will see Emmy's grown-up book for us adults, and we'll talk more about that then. So thank you for joining us today, Emmy. It's been amazing, and I can't wait to talk to you on Saturday.
Me too. Thank you so much, Ashley.
Take care. Bye, guys.